celebrating 20 years of possibility.
I'm Steve Hamer, and I believe that anything is possible.
Welcome to Anything is Possible. I'm Hallerin, Hilton Hill. Thank you for hanging out with us. These are great stories about great people whose lives prove that anything is possible. My guest today is Steve Hamer. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Hal. I am so blessed to be a part of such a wonderful show.
Those are not size 10.
These are size 9 times 2.
Right. You wearing 18?
Wearing 18.
How tall are you?
7 feet tall.
You know what? I have seen you, I have known you all these years, and I want to start our journey together because I think your life is a real story of possibility. You're a big guy.
Yes.
Center at the University of Tennessee, played a season with the Boston Celtics. You were all SEC, all American. You were riding high. You have a great personality. But I will never forget the day I ran into you at Waffle House. It was Waffle House on Cedar Bluff. And I didn't run into you at Waffle House where you were having breakfast or lunch. You were actually working as a server at Waffle House.
Yes. Yes.
And we exchanged greetings. And I think at that time you said, yeah, I'm just trying to get my life together. And I got to tell you, Steve, when I saw you that day, I don't know how you felt about yourself that day, right? But I could feel the energy. I could feel, I don't know if you felt, did you feel any sense of shame?
I did. I felt a lot of shame.
Can I tell you what I felt? I was so proud of you. And it makes me emotional right on the front end of the interview because I saw that you were willing to do whatever it took to take care of yourself and the people that you love.
Yeah.
And you had this happy attitude, but I could see the tug of war inside of you.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
Right? But here's this guy, can't miss you.
Yeah.
You don't walk into Waffle House, have somebody say, hey, welcome to Waffle House that's 7 feet tall.
That's right.
And people not know who you are.
Yeah.
And I saw you getting it.
Yeah.
What was going on?
So, that brings about a very interesting period of my life.
And do you mind me starting there?
No, I'm glad that you did because I run into people every so often that say, I saw you at Waffle House, man. What were you doing there? You're a college basketball player. You played in the NBA, and you're at Waffle House. Why? And to that I say, God has a very interesting way of bringing you to His will and directing and guiding your life. Hal, I thought I was going to play basketball for forever. I'm the product of Robert and Gracie Hamer, who, had my dad not passed away 3 days before Father's Day last year, they would have been married 72 years. And that's a lifetime.
Good gracious.
So, I learned to work hard at a very early age for what I wanted, for what I needed.
Where are you from?
Grand Junction, Tennessee, population 330. No stoplights, very few stop signs. It's like Mayberry. But that gave me a sense of worth, the hard work that I saw my dad every single day. They raised 6 boys. My mother never worked outside of the home.
What did he do?
He worked at a fiberglass company, and he worked his rear end off every single day. Just got up, back pain, and just never gave in. He never gave up, never gave out. I mistakenly saw my father's paycheck when I was a junior in high school. He was a very proud man, didn't want anybody to know how much he got paid, and he made $330 a week, and he supported 6 boys and a wife. How we never had the best of anything. I had Walmart shoes, and I remember a time in which my mother bought me a new pair of shoes at Walmart, and they were $27. And 2 days later, my mother told me after school, son, I have to take those shoes back. I said, why, Mom? Why? I need new shoes. The ones I have are too small. They have holes in them. She said, honey, we can't afford them. I'm sorry. So when you go back and tie all that together, I was fortunate to play basketball here at UT and fortunate to travel the country and parts of the world and to play this great game of basketball and to go on and play a year with the Boston Celtics. I was riding high, Al, because I'd made it. My dad made $330 a week. I'd made it. But then my career was over when I was 23 years old. I got knees that looked like on the inside, that looked like the underside of the moon. So it was just it was a ticking time bomb from when I left college. My knees they were going to be shot. So what do you do? What do you do at 23 years old? I felt sorry for myself. I felt ashamed because I had all the naysayers, Hal, that told me, you will never amount to anything. You will never. I don't like the way you run. I don't like the way you look. You're not going to make it. And to prove those people wrong by making it to the highest level, I felt a great sense of pride. But again, God had his hand on me and he's directing me and he took me through some things that were tough. But when you look at it at a granular level, it was so good for me. So fast forward at Waffle House, when I saw you, Hal, I saw someone that was awesome. I saw someone that I respected. I saw someone that squared his shoulders. But I also saw someone that didn't look down on me because I worked there. You looked at me and you shook my hand. Oh no, I won't forget that either, Hal. I'm glad you brought that up because those were tough times in my life. Flipping burgers and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with people working there, but that was tough because I thought that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. God, I thought that I would play basketball for forever, but it wasn't until many years later that God was trying to tell me, son, that's not why I made you. If you think that I made you to play with an object that has a circumference of 29.5 inches, how small do you think I am? I'm a great God, and I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that skill that I gave you to reach other people. So it honors me. It makes me feel so good that you thought that much of me to come over and to shake my hand and to give me a sense of worth. Because, man, those were tough days.
Possibility powered by Pilot Flying J, Covenant Health, Home Federal, and the Knoxville News Sentinel.
What happened after that? You're serving at Waffle House. Talk about the build back, because the build back only happens if you have faith.
Right.
You got to believe that you can go from there to here. What happened?
I found.
So you had bottomed out economically.
Yes.
Were you married at the time? Were you
married?
Had kids?
Married at the time. Had a baby, a newborn baby, and I thought that Waffle House, I could own a couple of Waffle Houses and I could sit back and relax and I could do this the rest of my life. Life's not easy, and it comes at you hard, it comes at you fast. And the next thing you know, it's 1:30 a.m. and you're working the graveyard shift at Waffle House. And you find yourself thinking, what am I doing? What am I doing? And then you reach out to people and you try to come to grips with, why am I here? Why am I here?
You know what's crazy is, and I don't know if you experienced this, but when you've been here and you fall here, here everybody returns your phone calls.
Yes.
Here, they often seem like they're scared that your failure is contagious.
Yes. Yes.
And they're like,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Did you feel any of that?
I felt a lot of it.
Right.
I tried to reach out to a bunch of different people and had no success.
Right.
None.
So, but I'm thinking about you seeing your dad, you seeing his paycheck, and you having to stand on what you saw in him, realizing that not only what you saw in him, you could lean on that, but that's what you're made of. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Did you?
I did. I leaned on that. And I knew that there was a greater purpose for me. And I'm going to tell you, I got, where it all changed is I really got involved in church. Really got involved in church. I delved in, I jumped in with both feet, and I got involved in church. And my life started to take change. And I noticed it right away. Things started happening in my life. And I started to feel a greater sense of pride again, that I am somebody, right? We often, as human beings, look at ourselves from our own lenses, right? But if we could see what God sees us as, it would blow our minds. So getting involved in church, I felt a change in my wife and our child. We got involved, and then some strange things happened.
What happened?
I started working at Apostolic Christian School of Knoxville, and I will never forget talking to our pastor, and I said, Pastor McCool, I said, is there anything I can do to work at this school? I'll take the trash. I'll do whatever, but I want to get involved. And he said, well, I'm glad that you said that, but we don't have any positions open. But he made the comment, Hal, he said, God provides sometimes when we least expect it. Less than 24 hours later, he comes back to me and he says, you'll never guess what happened. There was a teacher that suddenly resigned. So if you would like to start on that path of education, it's yours. And I was blown away, and the light just clicked. It just had an epiphany, like, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what I'm supposed to do. And I taught at that school for 13 years, 7 of which I served as athletic director, and my life started to take shape.
I bet you loved pouring into young people.
Love
too.
it. Love
it. So it must be crazy full circle for you to now be on the staff at the University of Tennessee. Talk about how that happened.
That's a phenomenal story in and of itself.
What do you do for the University of Tennessee?
So I serve as Assistant Director of Development, and I actually started a brand new role as of officially today. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be the Director of Letter Winner Relations. And, you know, I go out and I raise money for all 550 of our student athletes, as well as 20 varsity sports. So it's a challenging job, but I love it. It gives me a chance to go out and develop a rapport and engage many different people across our community, but it also gives me a chance to tell my story. And hopefully it impacts someone. Working as an educator, we all know that there's not a whole lot of money in it. In Hallerin, there were many days in which my wife cried. She cried. Steve, what are we gonna do? We got a daughter that's getting ready to go to school. She's a smart girl. She gets that from her mama, by the way. But she's a smart girl. She wants to go into law. We can't afford that on your salary. We can't afford that on mine. What are we gonna do? We have a son that's growing up, that's going to go to college. How are we going to pay for that? And through prayer, God opened doors for me to come back to the University of Tennessee and to be on staff, to be on the team again, this time in a professional capacity. Because, I tell people this all the time, Hal, that there is no growth in the comfort zone. You have to be comfortable in the growth zone.
Run that back.
Will you
say that again? Run that run that back.
I have found that there is no growth in the comfort zone. You must be comfortable in the growth zone.
Ooh-wee.
You have to be. And I became very comfortable at Apostolic Christian School. As an athletic director, I knew that I had to raise money by this time. I knew that I had to have my schedule. I knew I had my teams. I knew what I was doing, and I just became comfortable. But God was telling me, I've got something else for you to do. And he made life hard on me. How he did it again because he stretched me, and I'm growing, and it hurt. And I was kicking and screaming and clawing and saying, God, no, God, I think I found my purpose. I know I found my, leave me here, I'm good. And he took me through the greatest ordeal of my life with my family. 4 years ago, it's me and my wife and our 3 children. He took me through something that, had I not had faith, I would have broken.
What happened?
We lost our home. We lost our home. And I had to look at my children, Hal, 4 years ago, and tell them, Mommy and Daddy lost our home. And I remember seeing the looks on their faces like, Daddy, what are we going to do? I remember my wife saying, honey, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? How are we going to make it? And I would pray, and I would pray. And I would tell my wife, honey, everything's going to be all right. It'll be all right. I believe that everything is going to work out. I know it is. I feel it. But as soon as I would walk away from her, I would think, is it? God, where are you? I can't feel you. Where are you? You've brought me to this point. Where are you? And then he spoke to me and he told me that he was a promise keeper. He's a promise keeper. And Hallerin, ever since then, he has blessed me more than you will ever know. All the things that I lost, I've gained back tenfold. Because he took me through that dark time again to let me know that you have got to go through that growth process again. I'm going to stretch you and it's going to be trying and it's going to be tough. But if you hold on, you're going to make it. You're going to make it. And now to work at the greatest university on the planet, alongside some of the most talented people in the world, alongside 550 tremendous student athletes. I couldn't have written this. There's no script for this, Hal, that now full circle, everything's all right again. It's all right again. You know, we talked about this before, Hal, but if God were to unravel your life before you at an early age and say, this is what you're going to go through, the goods, the bads, this is what you're going to go through. There is not a one of us, if we're transparent and honest, there's not a one of us that'll say, sign me up.
Yeah, we're going to know. I'll pass on that.
I'll pass on that.
If you were to give one final word about possibility, about what makes things possible, to encourage the people that are watching right now, what would you say?
I would say, you know, I was posed this question when I was in leadership Knoxville, 2016. If you could go back and talk to your 16-year-old self, what piece of advice would you give that 16-year-old self? And I pondered and I thought, wow, that's a tough question. And the word that just kept coming to mind was, be courageous. Mm-hmm. Be courageous. Know that everything will work out in the end. Be diligent. Knowing that you have a purpose. Too many times in our lives, we go about our daily business not driven by a sense of purpose and destiny. We're driven by the winds that push us to and fro. So I would say, believe in yourself, be courageous, and know that you have a purpose. And also know how that you're here to serve. You're not here to be served.
Yeah.
Rick Grigsby said it best. Don't let your ego be longer than your servant's towel.
I love it.
You better serve, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to serve. And when we serve others, it pours into ourselves, and we, in turn, grow.
Steve Hamer, thank you for being on Anything Is Possible.
Thank you.